Hi, I'm my closet. This is Mike from Rain with a special guest, Alejandro Pagan. Thank you so much for coming and wanting to share your story. I've heard your story and I feel it's remarkable. So why do you feel it's important that others experience your story?
I just think it's important because I've been through situations that I feel were hard to me, and more than likely other people have been through them also. I don't feel what I've been through was very unique. I just think my perception of life before I dealt with those situations are what made my situation unique in itself.
Okay, so we'll backtrack. You said there were situations, so we'd like to explore that. So what were some of those circumstances and situations which you experienced?
There are a lot.
let's start with growing up. What was growing up like for you?
Okay, so I guess growing up, I guess being a Puerto Rican male in the Bronx, we all for the most part deal with something very much in common. We have to deal with violence in the streets. We have to deal with cursing in schools, being picked on. For the most part, we all deal with those things. But I guess one thing that I had to deal with was I was overweight as a child, and in any society, it's not really accepted. So for the most part, I was always picked on. I didn't have many friends. It was very to myself. And given all those situations, just the violence in the streets, worrying about going home, and all the different things, like I was even almost kidnapped when I was a child.
Wow.
Just walking home from after school program, so yeah.
So that sounds a lot. Like bullying is a major thing that a lot of young people face. They're now in our present day. Campaigns that are making it known now how bad bullying is. So how much were you affected by bullying? Or name calling? Same category.
I would say it's affected my whole entire life. It's because of bullying and what I had to deal with at school. I just reacted. I didn't know how to handle life, whether it was right or not. I just reacted because at that point no one was caring. No one cared. No one cared enough to not put me in the situation, or cared enough to help me get out of the situation. So I just reacted since no one cared.
So what were some of the things that you recalled? Was it like
everything? I was exceptionally fat. So yeah, just everything. And as a child, certain words will hit you harder than as an adult. Obviously, call me any of those names now. Obviously, I'm not as heavy as I was, but call me any of those names now, I'd be able to deal with it a lot better. But back then, just not having any support from anyone, love from family, just not understanding, that led me to just act irrationally.
So as you're growing up and now transitioning, hitting puberty, you're realizing some differences, some changes. What was coming out? Was there a coming out story? Well, coming out to yourself first and realizing, uh-oh, I'm different in other ways now. There's now another layer. What was that like for you, that experience?
Well, this is in the sense in which my story I feel is relatable but unique also. I come from a very Catholic family, so my whole life I've been taught this is wrong, all these, this is wrong, this is right, you need to do this to go to heaven, you need to do this to go to hell. And homosexuality was always an issue. As a child, I would see, no one in our family was gay, so I would see how my family would respond to other people, and it was different depending on the family member. A lot of people embraced or had gay friends, but certain family members I would see be like, oh, look at him, he's gay, and say like a very bad thing. So when I first got internet access as a child, yes, exactly. Right when the internet was brand new, I guess maybe it's when we had internet in the house, but when I first got internet access, we got AOL, and I had my free time on the computer.
Chat rooms and all.
Yes, exactly. So I had a lot of those experiences, but also at the same time, I think any person who was gay at that time was using the same resources. It was a safer way to go out there and tell people you were gay without having to deal with the discrimination and violence. So as a child, I was doing that, and my mother started to become a little more tech savvy and learned how to...
Look at your cookies.
Yes, exactly. learned about cookies and clear history and all. And the first thing is in my family, I mean it's just a very Catholic thing or Hispanic thing, but they raise you to understand on fear. Like you don't do that wrong because something bad's gonna happen to you. Not explaining things further really. So it was always that you can't do that because you're gonna go to hell. You know, my mother didn't necessarily want to tell many people because it was more of the image that they would have on me and think that more than likely it's her fault that I'm that way because in her eyes it's a choice. In many people's eyes it's a choice. And she basically just for years had me kind of in fear, maybe not even realizing that she had me like hating myself. But she told me that that's the devil in me, that's temptation, you know, I can change that. If I really wanted to, I can change that. This is just a phase. Yeah, it was just all these things that I started to believe because I didn't want to be that person, and I was raised that that person was wrong, and I just didn't. I didn't cope too well with that at the moment, so I just dealt with that for about 4 years.
What were some ways that you did cope, or not? You said not coping well. I know, like there's several things going on in your life. Number one is being overweight, and now it's the bullying, and then it's the family judgment with religion. Like that's a lot for a young person that's now coming to terms and trying to find self-acceptance. How did you feel, and how did you deal with all this pressure?
Well, that was basically for my whole high school years. So for 4 years, as any young adult would be trying to find themselves, I was trying to find myself with so much evidence and people telling me that these clues of who you are all negative. So you need to change that, regardless of who I was as a person, how I cared for people, how I would go out of my way for people. I was just always judged on that and off my appearance also. Even, I don't know, I guess beautiful people get away with a lot sometimes. And being overweight, it's more like you have to have a niche because it's negative ultimately at the end of the day.
So what were some positive ways that you dealt with all of this negativity, and what are some negative ways that you dealt with it?
Positive, well, I would say I have better coping methods now. Back then, like I said, it was to cope, I just reacted and it was very bad. I was pretty much the overweight one everywhere. My family, very loving, just had their views and they wanted things a certain way. So being that my weight, was, okay, like let's say my father was he verbalized how he wasn't happy with my weight. And just having no one approve of me, and the family which I love so dear isn't approving of me also, it was very confusing. So it was just reacting, and my reactions and just acting up, and I guess anger, fear, wanting to be accepted. I did everything and anything.
Did you have
personal low self-esteem would do?
Say that they found evidence on your computer, like I guess cookies, pictures, maybe something, but did you actually have a coming out story, like hey, guess what, or what was it like for you?
Yes, so by the age of 17, I was still doing everything on the internet. I was trying to be a lot more under the radar about it. So I continued that. I would meet people offline and such. So I ended up off of MySpace. I ended up meeting my first boyfriend, which as an adult now, it never should have happened, but he was very verbally abusive to me. He spoke down to me all the time. It was very
How long was it dating though?
For about like 4 or 5 months. Like pretty much the end of the end of junior year into like right before I became a senior. So I was with him, and basically since it was the first person to want to show me affection, and I'm this overweight slob in everyone's eyes, and no one likes me, I was just gonna tolerate him being horrible to me, and I did. I fell in love with him. It was stupid now, but I appreciate that because I learned so much, and if he was never there, if he never showed me that I didn't have control of my own life, that I basically let everyone else control my emotions and everything. I never would have came out basically. He basically at the end of our relationship rubbed in my face how much he was cheating on me and everything. And it got to the point that I had enough of it, and I was just like, it's over. And the same day, for years, my mom, would find things and then scare me into like not doing it, and I'd agree. So all of a sudden, this one day, I come up to her, and I'm just like, I want people to know. I didn't say anything to her the whole day. That's the first thing I come up to her is, I want people to know. And for her, it was, she argued it, instinctively. She's like, no, that's not right, this is that. And I'm just like, listen, this is gonna happen with or without you. With you, it's gonna be a lot easier. And I guess I'm lucky to have a family that loves me so much, and being that I, in a sense, gave her an ultimatum, she took it and she supported me. Her main thing was, let's not, I worry what the family's gonna think about me and this and that. But if you truly understand me, you wouldn't worry about what the family thinks, because this isn't a choice necessarily. My choice is to accept it.
So physically, we see that you're not that big guy that you were growing up. What was the experience for you when you actually decided to become healthier?
I guess it was a lot. There was a lot of factors, but I'd started to do my initial weight loss that same year. So I was like 250 pounds, and it was that year I just started to take charge of my life, and I started to lose a little bit of weight, not the healthy weight. I just starved myself the first few days, but I was losing weight a little bit, and my confidence was going up. And the same time, I'm an actor, so I was in school acting, and I got the lead role in the play. So I just was slowly building myself up. I was losing the weight and slowly losing the weight, and my self-esteem was going really high after that point. I had just come out, I'm a senior, I'm going to college soon. I was really well in my eyes. And then, I forgot where I was going with that, sorry.
Okay, so you're choosing an actor, to be an actor as a field of, you want to cultivate all your talent, and how far do you want to go with your ability?
I don't have any limits. My acting is the only thing that really makes me happy. It's the one thing that can make me achieve that sense of euphoria. It's the only way I find it in the world, and I'm never letting that go like I can. And I would love to, of course I want to be successful in my field, and in that field success means movies and TV shows, and I would love that because it means I'm successful, but I don't want to lose my privacy.
Got it.
I don't really want to not have a private life afterwards. But
So, grown up Alejandro now, what would you tell yourself as a young teenager who was going, as a child, experiencing bullying, then as a teenager, and first heartbreak, and up to, a young man? What would be your words of encouragement to
a younger
you or younger person that's going through these transitions, these changes, these discriminations?
Well, there's certain events in my life that I probably wished I didn't have to go through, and basically because of my low self-confidence and many different situations, I was diagnosed HIV positive a while ago, and that definitely impacted my life. I can't really say I regret it because I love the person I am today. It's made me see the world for all the positivity there is in it. I would love to warn myself about that day so I wouldn't be in that situation. I'd love to be my own friend if I could, since I didn't have one.
What would you tell him? What would you tell him, in that moment?
I would just start building myself up from then. Just know, hey, everything everything's gonna be better in the future. You're gonna go through a lot of headaches and stuff, but you're gonna have pretty much the love for yourself that you want and need.
How do you love yourself? How does Alejandro love himself today?
I guess I love myself because of the person I am. The fact that I focus my life on making myself happy without having to hurt anyone else by doing so. I like to help others. Since I had no help as a child, the second I see someone in need, if I can, I will. Like, I will try to. I just try to give back to the world. I'm a really big believer in energy. Whatever energy you give out into the world, I believe it comes back to you. So I try to give out positive energy because I would like for that to come back. I mean, I'm going to get negative energy regardless. It's the world, it's going to happen, but I try not to focus on that and focus on the positive. And just try to keep a positive outlook on things. Like, as much as I might not get an audition or something, try to see it as, I'm not good enough. I want to see it as, you know what, someone else is better for this role. Congratulations to them. I'm going to get my chance. And just continue patting myself on the back. I don't get it from anyone else, so I have to. So, yeah.
That's great. So from what I'm hearing, it's like, there's so much in your world, so much positive things, that your HIV, status seems to be just an occurrence that happened. It's just something that happened. Now, how do you encourage someone that feels opposite of what you feel, that they feel, oh my gosh, I'm HIV positive now, my life is over? What do you want to tell them? Like, what words or what truths or what values would you show from your life now and the experiences that you've had living with it, that you're able to have a full life? What do you tell them, that person that just received that paper that says positive?
I would tell them that I was that person. If anything, I was a worse person than that. Like I said, I was basically, I don't know, for lack of a better word, I was gassed. I was very confident in who I was, but at the time I was very excited. Everything was going well for me. Everything was amazing. I had just gotten a boyfriend, a good boyfriend. Well, at the time I thought it was a good boyfriend. Everything was going really, really well for me, and it went from everything going my way to finding out that every single thing wasn't what I thought it was. So I snapped, and I really went insane for quite a while. I became very violent, very angry. I had validated killing someone at one point. Like, in my mind, I could do it. As the cops came to me and tried to arrest me, I just had to explain the situation and they would let me go. Like, I really validated that in my mind. And that scares me to ever be that person again. I became a person I don't ever want to see in anyone else. I became a person I would never want to see in myself. But luckily I had someone show me value. My main feelings were I felt like used goods. I felt like, who's gonna want me now? Like, I'm a piece of shit. Like, no one is gonna want this. I'm poison. I'm harmful to anyone I touch, almost. And all this happened to me because I loved someone or because of whatever situation. And I think that's what everyone goes through. Regardless if they got it from sleeping around, they don't know who with, their man cheated on them, messed up occasion. It doesn't matter how you got HIV. It's still a situation you didn't want to be in. Everyone needs help. Everyone needs you to be there, whether you were cheated on, whether you did something that you brought it on yourself. Everyone needs someone to help them, and I try to do that now. I try to outreach to younger people. But my main thing is to just, the world isn't over. Things are going to get better. Right now, they don't see it because they're focusing on the negative, but the positive's still there. You're just not seeing it.
You're absolutely right. There's the whole world at stake, and whatever you want, you can just go and obtain, regardless of your status, whatever circumstances, whatever size you are, whatever your abilities are. Everyone could obtain what they want, right?
Exactly.
as demonstrated in this young man's life, and many countless people who do make it and strive in this world. Alejandro, thank you so much for rocking out with us. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, that's it for now. We're going to see you later.